Hey folks, welcome to Heart Talk, episode 15. If you tuned in today to check out the interview with Aaron, the accidental gallerist, we will be rescheduling for next week when there's stronger Wi-Fi. And our second guest today, Erin Maya, will be joining us in just a few minutes as she finishes up her daily meditation. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and pin our information. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and supporting. And I'm going to give a little preview on Alpha Arts Alliance and what it is that we've been doing as I wait for folks to come in. Let me go ahead and do this pin. Technology. Okay, and pinned, and she'll be coming in a few minutes. You know, it's good for me to practice this spiel anyway, so I'll go ahead and do it. So Alpha Arts Alliance is a Brooklyn-based arts agency where we focus on representing and connecting minority artists with different resources. Every sale that we make supports a youth-led community project, and that's really what differentiates us as an art collective. It's about the kids. So here are some pieces that are currently available on our website and in our collection. We're currently featured on Art Fair. Hello guys who are tuning back in. These are other pieces that we currently have available on Alpha Arts Alliance. Our artists are all from historically underrepresented backgrounds in the art world, with a specific focus on Black artists. My home community is Brooklyn. It's the community I serve. And so any piece that is sold supports one of our youth projects, currently a children's garden at a local community garden in Ocean Hill, and a mural project. If you are interested in supporting our youth initiatives, you can do so by donating below. Hello! Our guest, if you were here for Aaron, I just spoke with him. He is going to be rescheduling for next week. With that being said, in a few minutes, Erin Maya will be joining us. So I'm just going to leave this on and try to engage the folks who come in and get them to stay and hang out with me. I'm currently home in New Jersey, which is why you see trees and a backyard. I'm here with my family to kind of take a little beat from Brooklyn. It's been a really intense few weeks. I've been helping my friend with Abolition Plaza, with a lot of the protests and the rallies. So I went and got COVID tested, came back home, and have just really been taking some time to be internal and with myself. So I hope you guys have been finding some peace and some joy this week. I know it's been a lot the last few months, and it looks like we're going to be in this for quite a while. I'm going to play a little video that you will see as well when Aaron comes and joins us. So Aaron has been doing healing meditations every day at 6 p.m. So she's currently leading a meditation right now, and when she's done, she's going to come over and hop on and join us. She has been nominated considered for Grammys. She's a jewelry designer. She is currently in Philly, but I met her over in the Brooklyn art scene. And so I'm really excited to have Aaron join us. And then if you are watching, next week we start our youth program at Phoenix Community Garden. Here's a picture of some of the kiddos that live on my block. I've known them for 7 years. They are the reason Alpha Arts Alliance exists. They also named me Alpha, which is where that name comes from, of my business, of Alpha Arts Alliance. All the way to the left, you see little Isaiah. He named me Alpha 7 years ago. He said Alpha is a fairy that lives in the trees. It's stuck everywhere from the 2-year-olds to the 85-year-old neighbors call me Alpha. They don't know my government name, so that's love. That's not a name you can give yourself. So with that being said, we're just going to give it a moment while Aaron comes back in. Anna, I see you. Hello. How's everyone's week going? Hello. Hope you guys are good. This is like the first time I have really gotten properly dressed all week. It's been that kind of week. So Heart Talk has been really helpful for me to have something consistent in the week to look forward to have something where I feel like I'm able to connect and see folks, even though I haven't gotten to really see any of you guys this year. And just seeing the growth. Yeah, thanks, Anna. Yeah, Alpha came from the neighborhood, and it's really stuck. So it's funny. I definitely have. I'll go outside, and as soon as I step outside of my stoop, you'll hear just kids yelling "Alpha!" They'll come bike up on their little scooters, and they always want to know what I'm up to. They always see me like leaving my house with my djembe or with paints or with a mannequin, so they're always wondering what I'm up to. Hey there. I know some of you were here to catch the interview with Aaron. Tanya, I see you here. I just spoke with him. We are going to reschedule for next Thursday. He sends his apologies. The Wi-Fi was low in the studio, so we are going to redo the interview next Thursday at 6 o'clock. So same time, new week. We will be kicking it off with Aaron Sims talking about the Birthright series, talking about Bath Gallery. I'm really looking forward to this conversation because Aaron is like me. I think our journey started similarly. You know, he's been in the circle and in the art scene longer than I have, but really went into it head first. You know, was not trained in curation or trained in fine art. Neither was I, but it's something that we're really passionate about, something that we're really committed to in our communities, and it shows. And that's part of why I think Aaron has built the community he has around him, is because it's very clear and very apparent that he's doing it for the betterment of our neighborhoods. So I'm looking forward to continuing that conversation with him next week. So if you were here for Aaron, he will be joining us again next week. But we have Aaron coming in just a few minutes. So if you're coming in now, Alpha Arts Alliance is a Brooklyn-based arts agency. You can learn more about us on our website. You can also check out our collection where we have pieces currently for sale. Any piece that is sold supports a youth-led community project. So it supports a children's garden, a mural project, or our online virtual class for Brooklyn middle schoolers and high schoolers. So you'll see some of the pieces available here. You can also support by donating directly on our GoFundMe or at the text below. So all those funds go to cover materials and also to cover artist stipends. Many artists had. Yes, you can do sales inquiries via email or via DM. Hello, Aaron, and there is our guest of the half hour. So Aaron Myatt is here. As I said, Aaron has been leading an online meditation and sound healing every day for the last 3 to 4 months. 6 o'clock on the dot. It's something that has come into my life on days I really needed it. So today we're going to be learning a bit about the process and its impact on Aaron themselves as an artist, and also the impact it's had on their community. So Aaron, I'm going to go ahead and bring you in so we can start our beautiful conversation. Hey, Jewel. Nice to see you. It's been a minute. Hi.
Hi,
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. It's nice. I feel like I recognize where you're at. Like I feel like I'm going somewhere safe and comfortable because that's been your setup for the last since you've been doing meditation.
No, right? It's
Yeah.
crazy, right? Like, the worlds that we're creating in this time.
Yeah. I
You
mean,
can hear me, right?
like me, you started doing this pretty early on in the pandemic and just kind of stuck with it.
Yeah. It's funny. I brush my teeth every single day. Okay, I take a shower every day, but there are very few things that I do every day.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm not big on rituals. I just haven't created my own rituals in general. And so this is something that is new for me, but it's also really been powerful for me. But I started it probably about, I want to say like it was around the 20th of March. Been here today,
Yeah.
but for the most part, I've been going every day, and it's been healing for me
Yeah.
to
It's been
know that I have a
me
space to do so.
too. Yeah. Those prayers for my grandmother, I really, really appreciated that day.
Of course, I think about her often. Actually, earlier today, I was like, I need to know how her grandmother is.
Yeah. She's so, those of you who are watching, when I've jumped into Erin's meditations, you'll ask sometimes, folks we're thinking about, folks we want to keep in our prayers and our memories. And so I mentioned my grandmother. She's been in the hospital. No visitors, no calls. I assume no news is good news. But that's just part of the challenge of the pandemic right now. Is it's like anything that happens feels even more intense.
Exactly.
Which is why we're also in, you know, I think part of what's propelled this movement right now as well. It's like a perfect storm.
Right.
Yeah. So with that, you know, the meditations and doing them every day, what's some of the feedback you've gotten from people who've tuned in? Because you survey and you'll check in with the folks who come and listen, asking them what they're taking away from it and how can you and adjust your practice. So what is some of the feedback you've gotten?
I try to. You know, it's funny being in spaces like this and having a community that there are several people who do kind of come every day. A lot of them, you know, I have people who I knew before but didn't know that well, and then
Mm-hmm.
people who I didn't know at all who I'm like, oh, hey, girl. And so people seem to be feeling the way I want them to feel ultimately. Like my goal is to have them feel grounded and centered and feel like there's a place that they can go to feel, you know, held in the
Yeah.
midst of all of the tumult that's surrounding us. And so I have a friend who's like, oh, every night when I'm cooking, like I know I'm with the kids all these other times, but like when I'm cooking, I know I can come in and like feel good and know that I'm gonna, you know, even though it's, you know, I'm still doing things, it's allowing me the space to kind of and feel. Another friend who I think just
Mm-hmm.
is glad to be able to come when she can, but she definitely feels like it's grounding for her and just healing. So I have a few people who have definitely been. Then another friend is like, she's like, if anything gets in the way of me in meditation moments, it's going to be your problem. She uses it as her bridge between work and home.
Mm-hmm.
And so even though she's working from home, she's like, okay, I need to be able to decompress. So meditation moments is my decompressing moment. And I tell my partner, like, you need to go away and be someplace else. And then we can come in and, you know, so it's been cool to hear that kind of feedback.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited to for you to share that today with us. So I believe you are willing to lead us through kind of a mini meditation.
Yeah,
So
it's going to be a
watch.
mini one because we're going in, is it until like 7-ish basically?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I'm going to do like a quick 5-minute
Yeah.
meditation moment.
Perfect. And I have
Or
some
7.
pretty
We'll
big
see.
ready.
I need you to tell me. I have to plug something in to keep the sound like good. So let me know if you can hear me in a second.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Wonderful. Because I cannot hear you, but if you can hear me, everything is wonderful.
Yes.
All right, here we go. So, but I'll start out. I'm going to do half of what I do when I start out. Also, thank you everyone for being here and supporting Alpha Arts Alliance, which is such a wonderful resources for artists in this time and before and after. But I'd love for you, wherever you are, to, if you can just kind of take a moment to feel yourself in relation to the earth and the skies and just try to get comfortable and just take 3 deep breaths with me. So I'm just saying if you want to take a deep breath in your nose and out your mouth and just try to think of something that will bring you joy. And today I'll center this meditation on joy. So inhaling and exhaling on whatever that thing is that brings you joy. So here we go. 3 inhales and exhales, in and out, in through your nose, out through your mouth. One last breath in through your nose. And now I'm just going to invite you to relax while I make some intuitive improvisational sound for just about 5-ish minutes. Here we go. Thank you.
Thank you.
So usually in meditation moments, what I'll ask you to do is close out the same way we opened up. And so if you're still holding that joy in your heart, which I hope you are, then let's just take 3 more deep breaths. Inhaling again, exhaling, inhaling through your nose, exhaling through your mouth, and holding that joy in your mind, in your heart, in your spirit on your own count. Here we go. And when you finish that last breath, return to your regular pattern of breathing and just relax.
Thank you. So if you haven't gotten to, Erin does these meditations every day at 6. And you can also support by donating. I pinned Erin's information right here. I think that's correct.
It is correct. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Whew, that was nice. Thank you, Erin. So
Thank you.
I would love to ask you some questions kind of about your journey and your start.
I can take you. Sorry, 1 second.
Oh yeah, Erin cannot hear me currently. Can
Okay.
you hear me now?
I'm like, I didn't even think I need those headphones. Okay, here we go.
Yeah. So I'd love to ask you kind of your earliest memories with music. Um, you grew up in Chicago, I believe.
I grew up in Chicago.
Okay,
Yeah.
so yeah, tell us about your earliest memories of music, because I actually grew up not being allowed to listen to music, so it's always very interesting for me to hear.
Really?
Yeah.
So I think I grew up in a musical household. It's funny because my partner, who's also a musician, he's like, wait, your sister can sing. Like every now and then she'll be like doing an IG story and she sings. I'm like, yeah, like my family, my sister and brother can sing. They just don't.
Mm,
But when I was growing up, it's funny because I was often, and I think that there are a lot of things that people and families kind of have as traditions or things that they do or believe. And so it's like, no singing at the dinner table. Okay, cool. And it's like, if we're out, Aaron, nobody wants to hear you singing in the mall all the time. Okay. So it's like I've definitely silenced myself over
mm,
time. But as far as music goes, I grew up in a really musical household, specifically just with the music we were listening to. And so there was like Stevie Wonder and like Ella Fitzgerald and Pharaoh Saunders, Sweet Honey and the Rock. They totally, I mean, their children's albums were like on constant repeat. We would go to the museum all the time, and Ella Jenkins would be there. I'm not sure if you're familiar with her, but she's like a African American folk singer, and so
mm.
she was like, I was, oh, we're gonna go see Ella Jenkins. Oh my God, one time festival called the Kendi Fest.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got to meet her in person. But she and like all these other amazing musicians with folk music and soul, and R&B and all that just shaped like
Mm.
my ears. I was like, yes, let's listen to music all the time.
So do you remember there being a moment where you knew you wanted to pursue music or have it as a
I don't know if there was like a aha moment. Um, I know that I used to sing for like anybody.
career?
Like, I think I don't know how this happened, but I guess like when I was 3, I was on a plane one time and like I wasn't able to sit with my mom, which makes no sense, but I ended up sitting between these two older women. And like when we got off the plane, they told my mom, they were like, she was singing the whole time. Like I used to do concerts with my grandparents, like standing on top of the piano bench and stuff. So I mean, I think I always loved singing. I like begged the choir director when I was 5 years old to let me in the children's choir at my church. You were supposed to wait till you were 6. I was like, but I want to sing now. Um, so I always wanted to sing, and I think that in part because I was in Chicago, it wasn't something that I saw as a career. It
Mm,
was something that I thought it was always going to be extracurricular. And so I was in every possible extracurricular music thing that I could be. I was in a lot of choirs. I was in almost all the choirs in my high school. Um, but I didn't start writing music until much later.
mm,
Yeah, because I didn't see it as a career. I didn't see it as something that I could like do for my life,
right.
you know.
Wow. So when did you come to New York, and how did that shift kind of your musical journey? How was it different in Chicago?
Yeah. So it's funny, like I was not an artist, meaning I was not an adult aiming to be an artist in Chicago. But sometimes I wish I was because I feel like there's more space. Every artist really inspiring
Yeah.
at times because you're in a community of other people like thriving and striving for this goal. But shifting to New York, I came to New York right after college and
Mm,
I came to work in book publishing. Hmm. And then I was like, wait, this is corporate. I didn't want to be in corporate America. So I left there. I started working in nonprofits. Then I got bored and I was like, I should probably just do what I like. And I
right.
really like to sing and I really like being artful. And so I actually traveled for a few years. Well, no, I traveled for 6 months in Paris. And specifically, like I went to Paris and was in Paris. I traveled a little bit over there. But I really wanted to kind of get comfortable with the idea even though it probably makes no sense now. But I was like, okay, if I'm gonna be an artist, I know I have to like be comfortable being broke. So I'm gonna go to Paris and I'm gonna eat baguette, like mini baguettes and mustard and bananas every day and just go to open mics and be a starving artist and see what that's like.
Mm,
Um, and then when I came back, I was like, I don't want to work a 9 to 5. So I'm just gonna get some part-time jobs, piecemeal it together and focus on my music. And so I did that for a couple of years, and then, well, actually, I guess I've done it for several years because I never went back to a 9 to 5. Um, and yeah, I mean, it was just, I guess it was kind of the leap of faith.
Yeah.
But for me, I'm like, the ultimate leap of faith is like no part-time jobs, just music.
Right.
So we're working on that.
Well, I mean, that's a big leap of faith itself. I just left my 9 to 5, well, my 7 to 6, because I was working at a middle school last year. So I
Mm-hmm.
just made that jump, and I know there's a few folks watching here who are kind of debating whether they should leave their full-time job to pursue their passion. So, what advice would you give to folks considering the same thing?
Um, it's kind of, it is fitting that this is the question. So just now on meditation moments that we did at 6, so I did like a short meditation moments, and I was I say that
Yeah.
what I mean is that we really do have the power, and it's kind of like it's one of those things where it's like I'm gonna tell you this, and you're either gonna believe it or you're not. And it's like we're talking about belief, but so if you can tap into the power of belief, which I believe that we can literally create the world as we see we want it. And so if I say that I don't believe that there are any guys out there who are going to love me, then all I'm going to see and meet is guys who are not going to love me.
Mm-hmm.
But if I say I want a man who's 6 feet, who has straight white teeth, and who only eats chicken once a week, then I'm going to meet that man, And it's all about the power that we tap into in ourselves, because we really do have I believe we have the power to manifest. And so when we believe something, it will come to be.
Yeah.
And we only see what we believe, and then we believe what we see.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, it's a cycle. And I think it's really powerful. And so what I say to these people who might want to consider transitioning into a life of full passion, I'd say, if you can see it, if you can create that image in your mind of what you want to achieve and the world that you want to create for yourselves, then it's absolutely possible. And how you get there, there's 17,000 ways you can get there. But if you can see it, if you can envision it, then it's absolutely possible. So definitely like make a clear path and make a clear list of what it is that you want, and be specific.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you want to work part-time jobs so that you can have a W-2, so that when you file your taxes, then you get like money back, even though it was your money in the first place, then, you can do that. But, we literally hold our realities in our hands.
Yeah.
And it feels good. I mean, it feels good to have something that you love and do it. But then also, don't be afraid to edit your dreams.
Mm.
It's like, oh, I really want to do this. And then you start doing it. And then you realize, I don't even know I do this thing, a different variation of this. So just kind of being aware of what you want and being willing to just shift and edit, because it is literally your life. And I read one time, you're not a tree. So if you don't like something, move, change it.
Thank you. Yeah. I've gotten to see you, as I think about that, like when I first got to see you and get to know you, it was when hold on 1 second. Mommy, are you okay? Do you need something? You need water or anything? Okay, my mom was coughing really hard. I got worried.
It's important. We have to check on our mommy.
She just discovered YouTube, so she's been watching like Chinese action films nonstop there. That's pretty hilarious. But anyway, as I've gotten to get to know you, the first few times was seeing you perform and you providing background vocals, but you do a whole variety of, you support other performers with background vocals, but you also have your own music. So I was hoping you could just tell us some of that. You even have been considered for Grammys, which is really awesome. Yeah, own that. I saw that. So what has it been like just with performances not really being a thing now? How has that adjustment been? And if there's a highlight of a New York performance that comes to mind?
Yeah, it's so funny. The transition is real, and the weight of the change is like, what do you mean? I have to be in front of my computer and pretend like the people are there with me, but they're not.
Right.
It's different. However, I will say that the community that has kind of started to exist around me, and around me and my partner, Edson Sean. He's a
Yeah.
singer and songwriter, and like we do concerts every part. That community, some of whom are here around us and supporting us. And so while like we're not really there, um, and having that exchange, because it really is, it's about energy exchange,
Yeah.
right? And so like if I forgot what I was looking at recently, but they were like, there are some people who don't sing that well, but the people who come to see them are coming because of how they make them feel,
Yeah.
you know? And so it's really an energy exchange. And one thing I feel very grateful for is with meditation moments as well as with the concerts, I really do feel like I'm being inspired and surrounded by this kind of circle of energy of the people who are coming and being present in those moments.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, it's definitely a transition, and it's not the funnest thing being away from everybody.
No.
Especially because New York is like it's so full of all these different personalities and all these amazing artists, and even just being around other artists and having the chance to collaborate and work together in whatever ways. Like I was actually just talking earlier today to a friend saying how hard it is for me to fathom working on I'm working on my next album,
Hmm.
and I'm like I really want to be in a studio, but I'm not certain that I can do that. I actually have to call and check the one studio that I want to work in. But I'm like, but even if I'm in there, like if I call the people who I want to work with, like the musicians that I want to work with, are they going to be comfortable coming?
Right.
And it's just all these things to have to consider that didn't exist 3 months ago. And so it's difficult to have to navigate that new terrain
Yeah.
and really think like what makes sense, what's healthy, what is the best thing for me to do, and also is it ever really going to go back? Because even though they're saying we can't really do concerts until 2021,
Hmm.
it's like, is it going to be 2021? And when it does happen, what is it going to look and feel like? Are people
Right.
not going to want to sit close to the stage because I'm singing and I'm expelling air? It's
Yeah. Yeah, it's super a lot. And one thing I've seen, which has been motivating, and you and I talked about this a few weeks ago, and I was in here too, is like, in a way, this has kind of propelled collaborations that have been meaning to happen, right? Like there would have been a time sooner or later that you and I could have gotten to collaborate, but maybe now it's happening sooner, because we're not
exactly,
just so quick to go to who's proximity wise close to us, but really are looking beyond, because a lot of it's virtual now. So who are,
exactly.
collaborating across that, has been cool. But I think even you and I were just like, yeah, it's a matter of time. Like we've
Yeah,
been
no, it's
waiting. I've been
true.
waiting to get to connect with you in this way. So that's definitely been a highlight.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is, and that it's kind of like it's like oh, this is great, this is not so great, but this is really great, and really kind
Yeah.
of balancing that out and really kind of holding on to the energy of gratefulness
Yeah.
because I don't think I would have started meditation moments if we hadn't been here in this space. Because I've written it
Right.
down several times. I've written down the words meditation moments. I was going to start it. I wrote it down in November, I think, the first time. And then I had a whole different format in my mind. And that never happened.
Mm-hmm.
And then this happened. And it was like, oh, I should just do it live. And it
Right.
was daunting at first to think about, but it was much less daunting because I thought about it. But even more because I really felt like it would be a tool for healing. And I
Yeah.
knew that I myself was like, this is all crazy. I just need to be able to like be calm
Mm-hmm.
and feel like everything is going to be okay. And so the initial thing was like, I want to help people feel like everything is going to be okay. And I know that sound healing has played a big role in that for me. And so I
Yeah.
wanted to, you know,
Yeah. It's something I've been definitely exploring more, and similarly, heart talk is something that pushed me to start doing more online work. Getting my face in front of the camera, which I was always really uncomfortable with. So the pandemic kind of propelled me and pushed me to do that. Because I remember we started doing we kind of simultaneously around the same time.
Yeah.
But it's cool to know that it's something you were also thinking about prior. It's also something I was thinking about prior. So I see some folks in here. Zammy, shout out to Harper, Miss Beam, Staff 161, Anna. If you guys have any questions for Erin, now is a good time to also drop any questions you have. One thing you taught me was toning. So
which we didn't do just now because I was like, I don't want to take up too much time, but
well, can you explain what toning is?
sure.
Done it
So yeah, and it's funny because like, well, I'll explain it and then I'll talk about the funny things, right? So toning brings awareness to the fact that we as beings are vibrating at all times.
Yeah.
Right? And so as vibratory beings, we each have a different frequency. For instance, like a paperclip has a certain frequency, and a piece of paper has a certain frequency. Every single thing in the universe has a frequency. And I always tell people, I'm like, if you've ever met someone and you stood next to them and you didn't know them, but you stood next to them and you were like, I don't know, no, I think I should move away from this person.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably because your vibrations were not matching. It's like it just their vibe. And this is what people say, like, I don't like their vibe. You don't like their vibration. And so toning is a really nice practice. For me, I love doing it when I'm entering spaces and kind of like to frame things. And so it's a really nice practice to kind of bring us into our natural vibration and to kind of rebalance us. That by a lot of different people or anything like that. And so the way I do it is choosing a vowel sound like A, E, O, U, or humming. And humming in particular is said to be like an internal massage. But ultimately, when you're using your voice at all and using it on one pitch, so if I'm saying ooh, then I can like put my hand on my chest. You can't see my chest, too low, but you can put your hand on your chest and just feel that vibration. And it's really something that we did as babies. When babies are like they're comforting themselves with their vibration through toning or cooing or whatever you want to call it. But it's toning, and it's really just kind of like it's a hug. It's a sonic hug ultimately.
Oh, a sonic
and
hug.
it's a tool that can be used. It helps sometimes. Some people use toning to like help them get to sleep. Some people use toning to help them with indigestion. You know what I mean? Like there are all kinds of things. Our voices are healing tools.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of why it's sad sometimes when people are like, oh, I can't sing. And so then they're like told they can't sing, and then they don't use their voices as the healing tool that it really is. And so one of my goals is to help people understand the healing capabilities of their voices so that they're not afraid, like, oh, I'm not a singer. Oh, it's like you're a singer by default of having a voice that can be used.
Yeah.
And you don't have to be on stage to use that tool.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you are doing the toning, you use your voice, and I've also seen you use bells.
Yeah, I mean, I use the bells, first of all, because I love them, my tin bells, and I just love the tone, right? But I use it just as a timing device, right? And so I could say, okay, start now. Okay, stop. But I find the bells to be a little bit more.
Okay, and we have a question here from Zammy, and I've heard you talk about this before. Is how do you choose your tune? Is it something intuitive?
Sure. So it's totally intuitive. Like the tone and what I say in meditation moments is, you can choose any vowel sound. There's no such thing as a wrong vowel. Sometimes you might be in a meditation space and they may say, okay, let's go through all of the vowels. But as far as the tone or the pitch that you choose, it is literally, and I hope I'm answering the question.
Yeah.
As like, because the tone is like, but then if you're talking about the meditation moments itself, but it is all intuitive. And so literally, like, I like to think I should say I've been told and I believe that any sound that we make is just a continuation of sound that exists in the atmosphere around us.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a continuation of sound that literally has existed for eons that our ancestors made. And we're literally picking up that sound and making something with it. And so when we're toning, it's like, ooh, and that was the tone that literally just came into my mind. But yours might be, and that is perfectly valid. There's no such thing as a wrong tone.
Mm. Great. Have you been creating any visual art or any of your jewelry at this time?
I have. I was actually really excited. I was like, I'm gonna get my hair done. Even though
And those
it's a
are
little
perfect.
natty now.
Aren't those
These are my
nice?
earrings.
Yep.
These are my earrings, and that's a ring I made, and that's the ring I made. I've been making different shapes jewelry. Like I've come up with some different shapes, and I was supposed to have a photo shoot. That didn't happen yet. We're still working on figuring that out. But I've been making a lot of like really cool shapes, and I'm excited to show them to the world once I get some photos taken of them.
Yay.
I've been experimenting and playing around with a lot of different tools and materials. So.
Mm-hmm. Haha. Lots of time to experiment and play right now. So, well, I love this. If there's any last questions for Erin, we have time for a few. We have time for more. But with that being said, Erin, you said you have you're working on an album. So
I am.
look forward. Tell us how we can find you. I have your information. I'm going to pin your Instagram here as well. But how can people keep on your journey? Keep an eye on
Sure. So first of all, thank you so much for creating the space and maintaining it for people like me. So my website is erinmaya.com, and that's where you can kind of find everything. Though I'm gonna keep it real, I do not update it as much as I should. I will be honest there. But the project that I'm working on, I would love for it to come out next year.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to depend a little bit on coronavirus and quarantine and what I feel is smart and what I feel is healthy for everyone.
Yeah.
But it's called I Love My Afro Ratchet Soul, and it'll have mainly new songs on it, but it'll have a couple songs on it that are kind of they're from like the trove of Erin Maya-isms, and I'm just gonna kind of make them a little bit more current. Spell it out, Erin. Oh, of course. It's ARINMAYA, and that's where you can find me anywhere online. Like if you want to see my random thoughts, go to Twitter, find me there. Some of it makes sense, some of it doesn't. And then on Instagram, I'm on Erin Maya, and my jewelry is at Erin Maya Made. So that's just ARINMAYA with made at the end, MADE. And I would love to share that, that I'm gonna start and not a new offering, but kind of an additional meditation moments offering that I'm gonna be targeting. Really, just like I want to make an offering specifically for the Black community right now, because I know that we are going. It's like there's so much coming up. And like I'm looking on Twitter, trying to just be Erin and silly and say random things, and it's like everything is triggering, everything is unsettling, and so I'm gonna be doing. I haven't quite figured out if it's gonna be once a week yet, but it's gonna be on the weekend. I think probably on Saturdays, and so I'll be posting information about that on my page. So if you guys want to follow me on Instagram, or if you go to my website, you can sign up for my email list, and I'll definitely be sending information out about that. But I'm excited about just kind of sharing these resources with the community, because one of the things about sound healing, sound and music healing, is like there are not that many Black people doing it.
Right.
And even when I was taking some of the courses that I took, or like starting to learn about it several years ago, there was a complete absence of Black and brown faces in the mix. When it's like, it doesn't make any sense, because just like somebody said, like humming is an ancient practice. And if it's an ancient practice, people of color were involved in it, and so it's been extracted.
Made it.
You see? And so it's like, then it's been extracted, and now it's like, oh, look, let me teach you about what your people create.
Right.
What? And so I'm grateful to be able to do this work, and I really want to share it kind of as far and wide as I can.
Awesome. I can't wait to see and amplify that, because I've had, you know, the people I love most have had a lot of folks come to me lately just asking for references for therapy, particularly looking for Black therapists. And I'm doing my best to connect, but one thing I have been able to do is refer your daily meditations to some folks who are seeking that space. And so just knowing that that's there, and knowing that there's someone that I can trust can do that work that I cannot do, and that you've been offering that consistently, really, really means a lot and stands out. So whenever that's going, I'm looking forward to sending it along and amplifying that.
Thank you. This year.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks. You know, I'm not gonna lie, I need to come more often, and there's something in me that I think is like a little scared of like what might come up. So I'm just like, let me push it aside. Because like one time, I think the day when one day I was walking and I came in, and then I was like walking down Broadway and crying and toning, and I was like, God, I need to like make sure I'm.
It can, it can bring some things up, but I always say, the things that come up have to come out at some point.
Right.
And if they don't come out, that's how we end up carrying a heavier load than we really should,
Yeah.
So don't be afraid
Yeah.
to feel.
Yeah. And I'm always there in spirit, but I do like coming. So.
But you also know that they're all available on my IGTV. And by all I mean like a lot. So you can always check those out, and in private.
Yep.
When you're home. Yeah.
You saw my little mashup. I went through the IGTVs.
I did. I was like, what?
Yeah, I did appreciate it. So, Aramai, everybody, you can follow. Their Instagram is tagged here in the comments. All the sound meditation, well, most of the sound meditations that have been saved are on IGTV. But this is a great resource for sound healing, specifically for the Black community as well, and for creatives, for anyone, of course. But soon, Aaron will also be offering specifically for Black folks, because that trauma is very, very specific and very, very huge. So much love to you. Thank you so much. We're not that far away from each other right now. I'm like 25.
I know. I'm so excited about this. Listen.
Yeah.
Listen.
I'll let you know. Get out this. So, Aaron,
well, thank you so much for having me. And again, thank you for continuing this work. And yeah, I'm around.
We'll be seeing each other. All right. Much love. We'll see you soon. So that is Aramaya. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'm going to just real quick explain what it is that I do. Alpha Arts Alliance is a Brooklyn-based minority arts agency. We do have artworks available on our website. Any piece that sells supports a youth-led community project always. So we're currently fundraising for our children's garden. Our program is starting next week at Phoenix Community Garden in Ocean Hill. Here are the kids who named me Alpha 7 years ago. So this garden is specifically for the children of Bed-Stuy on my block, the few families that have been able to remain there. And if you are interested in any of the art, you can email or DM me for inquiries. Here are some of the pieces available. This is by Jess, aka Color Energy. I'm currently on Art Fair as well, displaying the works of Nicholas O, who is a Korean American artist. This is another piece by Jess. We also have several pieces by the incredible Mohammed Zaman and core member of the team, Tana Torrent. I also want to shout out Mr. Hip. My copy of Convenient Amnesia came this week. So for those of you who tuned in, thank you so much. Next week, we will be having Aaron Sims on the left. Will be coming back to join us for heART Talk, as well as Nati Music. She's from Union Island, and she was the violinist for Beyonce and Jay-Z's On the Run tour for the last year, and she's also a dear friend. So check out our website, alphaartslines.com. And if you enjoyed our conversation and the brief meditation that Erin led us through today, definitely follow Erin Maya. Her account is pinned here, and you can check out her meditations that are saved on IGTV. Zammy, I love you. Tana, I love you. Donald, I love you. I love all you guys that are here. Thanks for this journey. We hit 1,000 followers this month, and we are growing. We're growing about 100 followers every 2 weeks, which is really exciting. So continue to share and promote. It's really about the kids.